Shtan, the star gods. These cosmic horrors, born from the very fabric of reality, once held dominion over the material realm, their power unmatched and their hunger insatiable. The tale of the C'tan is one of creation and destruction, of godhood and enslavement, of unimaginable power and cosmic treachery. Long before the rise of humanity, before the Eldar Empire reached its zenith, even before the Old Ones seeded life throughout the galaxy, the C'tan existed as pure energy beings, feeding on the raw power of stars. These entities, unfathomable in their nature, drifted through the cosmos, unaware and uncaring of the physical universe around them. They were beings of such immense power that the laws of physics bent to their will, and the very concept of time held little meaning to their eternal existence. The awakening of the C'tan marked a pivotal moment in galactic history, one that would shape the fate of countless civilizations for millennia to come. It was the Necrontyr, a species plagued by short, painful lives due to the radiation of their cruel star, who first made contact with these celestial entities. In their desperation to overcome their mortality, the Necrontyr offered the C'tan physical forms, vessels of living metal that would allow the star gods to interact with the material universe in ways they never could before. This unholy union between the C'tan and the Necrontyr set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy. The C'tan, now able to feast upon the life energies of entire species, grew ever more powerful and tyrannical. They turned the Necrontyr into the soulless Necrons, immortal but stripped of their free will and individuality. With their new army of undying servants, the C'tan waged war against the Old Ones and their creations, a conflict so devastating it left scars in the very fabric of reality. The war in heaven, as it came to be known, was a cataclysm of unimaginable proportions. Entire star systems were devoured, species were wiped from existence, and the laws of physics were twisted and broken. The C'tan reveled in this destruction, their powers growing with each world consumed, each soul devoured. They became gods in every sense of the word, masters of life and death, creators and destroyers on a cosmic scale. Yet, even gods can fall. In a twist of cosmic irony, the very beings the C'tan had enslaved would become their undoing. The Necrons, guided by the cunning of their silent king Sarek, turned against their masters. Using technology that defied comprehension, they shattered the C'tan into fragments, trapping these shards in tesseract labyrinths. The once almighty star gods were reduced to shadows of their former selves, their powers diminished but still terrifyingly potent. This betrayal marked the end of the C'tan's reign, but not their influence on the galaxy. The shards of these fallen gods, each containing a fraction of their original power, became sought-after weapons of immense destruction. Necron dynasties awakening from their great sleep seek to collect and control these shards, while other factions of the galaxy live in fear of their potential awakening. The legacy of the C'tan extends far beyond their current fragmented state. The technologies they introduced, the laws of physics they broke, and the wounds they inflicted upon the universe continue to shape galactic events. The warp, that realm of chaos and madness, grew in power and volatility due to the psychic backlash of the war in heaven. The Necrons, their former servants, slumber in tomb worlds scattered across the galaxy, waiting to reclaim their ancient empire. As the 41st millennium unfolds, the threat of the C'tan looms like a shadow over the embattled Imperium of man and the other factions vying for supremacy. Inquisitors whisper of cults dedicated to these ancient star gods, of artifacts that hold fragments of their power. Adeptus Mechanicus tech priests seek forbidden knowledge of the C'tan's mastery over the material realm, risking corruption and madness in their pursuit. The story of the C'tan is a cautionary tale of power and hubris, of the dangers of playing God and the consequences of betrayal. It reminds us that in the grim darkness of the far future, even gods can bleed, and that the sins of the past never truly die. As ancient tomb worlds stir and long-buried secrets come to light, the galaxy holds its breath, for the awakening of even a single C'tan shard could spell doom for entire sectors. The key players in the saga of the C'tan span cosmic entities, ancient races, and the very fabric of the universe itself. At the heart of this tale are the C'tan themselves, the star gods whose very existence defies mortal comprehension. Once numbering in the thousands, these beings of pure energy fed on the primal forces of the cosmos, their consciousnesses vast and alien. Among them, 4 rose to prominence: the Nightbringer, embodiment of death; the Deceiver, master of lies and manipulation; the Void Dragon, lord of machines and technology; and the Outsider, driven to madness by its own nature. Opposing the C'tan were the Old Ones, an ancient race of incredible psychic power and scientific knowledge. These beings seeded life throughout the galaxy and shepherded the evolution of countless species. Their mastery of the warp and creation of the webway made them formidable adversaries to the C'tan's material supremacy. The Necrontyr played a pivotal role as both enablers and eventually betrayers of the C'tan. A species cursed with short, painful lives due to their radiation-blasted homeworld, they sought immortality at any cost. Their biotransference into mechanical bodies, orchestrated by the C'tan, transformed them into the undying Necrons. Led by the Silent King Zarek, the Necrons would eventually turn against their godlike masters. The Aldari, creations of the Old Ones, emerged as a psychically gifted race destined to inherit the galaxy. Their war against the C'tan and Necrons would shape their civilization for millions of years to come, eventually leading to their own downfall and the birth of Slaanesh. The Krork, precursors to the Orcs, were another weapon in the Old One's arsenal. Engineered for war, these brutal and endlessly reproductive creatures were unleashed upon the C'tan's forces, their savage nature a counter to the Necron's cold logic. Warp entities, both beneficial and malevolent, played their part in this cosmic drama. The increasing turmoil of the war in heaven gave rise to the Chaos Gods, whose influence would come to dominate the Imperium and threaten all of reality. The Hrud, time-manipulating parasites, are theorized to be another creation of the Old Ones, their temporal abilities a desperate measure against the C'tan's mastery of the material universe. Lesser known but equally significant were the Umbra, shadow-like entities believed to be fragments of a weapon designed to combat the C'tan. Their ability to exist in multiple dimensions made them uniquely suited to challenge the star gods. The Jokero, a race of orangutan-like creatures with an innate genius for technology, are thought to be another Old One creation, their skills a counter to the C'tan's technological dominance. Among the Necron ranks, key figures emerged. The Triarch Praetorians, tasked with maintaining Necron cultural purity, would play a crucial role in preserving their civilization through the Great Sleep. Overlords like Imhotep, the Stormlord, and Trazyn the Infinite would shape Necron politics in the millennia to come. C'tan shards, fragments of the once mighty star gods, became both weapons and objectives in their own right. These pieces of divinity, each housing a fraction of a C'tan's power and consciousness, are sought after by various factions for their immense destructive potential. The Blackstone fortresses, ancient weapons of incredible power, are theorized to be tied to the war in heaven. Their ability to fire energy directly from the warp suggests they were designed to combat the C'tan's material nature. Cryptechs, Necron masters of science and technology, gained prominence for their ability to manipulate the fundamental laws of the universe, a skill learned from their former C'tan masters. The Flayer virus, a parting curse from the Landugor the Flayer, continues to plague the Necron race, turning affected individuals into cannibalistic shadows of their former selves. In the aftermath of the war in heaven, new players emerged. The Imperium of Man, led by the godlike Emperor, would come to dominate much of the galaxy, its Adeptus Mechanicus obsessively seeking the technological secrets left behind by the Necrons and C'tan. Tyrannid hive fleets, drawn to our galaxy by the psychic beacon of the Pharaoh's device, present a threat that echoes the all-consuming nature of the C'tan themselves. The Tau Empire, young and ambitious, unwittingly expands into ancient Necron territories, their encounters with awakening tomb worlds shaping their understanding of the galaxy. Eldar craftworlders and their dark kin, the Drukhari, carry the genetic memory of the war in heaven, their actions often influenced by ancient hatreds and fears. The Necron dynasties, awakening from their great sleep, emerge as major players in the galaxy's power struggles. Their internal conflicts and quests for lost glory add layers of complexity to the political landscape. Lastly, the very fabric of reality itself can be considered a player in this cosmic game. The laws of physics, stretched and warped by the power of the C'tan and the turbulence of the war in heaven, continue to influence events on a galactic scale. The rise of the C'tan and their eventual downfall was set in motion by a complex interplay of cosmic forces and the actions of mortal races. At the dawn of the galaxy, the C'tan existed as vast energy beings, feeding on the power of stars and drifting through the void, unaware of the material universe around them. Their transformation into gods of the material realm began with the plight of the Necrontyr. The Necrontyr civilization emerged on a radiation-bathed world, orbiting a volatile star that bombarded them with lethal energies. This harsh environment led to short, painful lives and a society obsessed with death. Despite their technological advancements, the Necrontyr could not overcome their genetic curse. Their bitterness and envy towards longer-lived species, particularly the old ones, festered into a burning hatred. In their desperation to extend their lifespans, Necrontyr scientists detected the presence of the C'tan feeding on their sun. Seeing an opportunity, they constructed bodies of living metal to house these energy beings, allowing the C'tan to interact with the physical universe. This act of technological brilliance and cosmic hubris would alter the fate of the galaxy forever. The first C'tan to accept a necrodermis body was Azagorod, who would become known as the Nightbringer. Its transition into the material realm was accompanied by an insatiable hunger for life energy. The Nightbringer's feasting on the Necrontyr population instilled a primal fear of death in the species it consumed, a terror that would echo through countless races for millennia to come. As more C'tan took physical form, they revealed their true nature to the Necrontyr. These star gods promised the gift of immortality in exchange for servitude. The Necrontyr, led by the Silent King Zarek, agreed to this pact, not fully comprehending the horrific price they would pay. The process of biotransference, known as the Great Work, began. The Necrontyr were stripped of their organic bodies and transferred into metallic forms. However, this transformation came at the cost of their souls and free will. The C'tan feasted on the released life energies, growing ever more powerful, while the Necrontyr became the soulless Necrons, bound to the will of their new masters. Simultaneously, tensions between the Necrontyr and the Old Ones had reached a breaking point. The Old Ones' refusal to share the secrets of immortality with the Necrontyr had sown the seeds of resentment. This animosity, coupled with the newfound power granted by their alliance with the C'tan, led the Necrons to wage war against their ancient enemies. The war in heaven erupted, a conflict of unimaginable scale and brutality. The C'tan and their Necron legions faced off against the Old Ones and their created races, including the Eldar and the Krork. The C'tan's mastery over the laws of physics clashed with the Old Ones' psychic might and control over the warp. As the war raged, the C'tan turned on each other, absorbing the essences of their own kind to grow even more powerful. The number of C'tan dwindled from thousands to mere dozens, with the survivors becoming unimaginably potent. The Deceiver manipulated events from the shadows while the Nightbringer sowed terror across the galaxy. The conflict's intensity began to tear at the fabric of reality itself. The barrier between real space and the warp weakened, allowing the psychic echoes of pain and suffering to coalesce into malevolent entities. This turmoil gave birth to the Chaos Gods, adding another layer of complexity to the already cataclysmic war. The Old Ones, despite their advanced technology and psychic mastery, found themselves overwhelmed. Many of their creations were destroyed or corrupted, and the Old Ones themselves were driven to extinction or forced to flee the galaxy. Their passing marked the end of an era and left a power vacuum that the C'tan eagerly sought to fill. However, the C'tan's triumph would be short-lived. The Silent King Zarek, witnessing the true nature of the C'tan and the horrific transformation of his people, began to plot against the Star Gods. He realized that the Necrons had traded one form of slavery for another, exchanging their brief mortal lives for an eternity of servitude. Zarek's rebellion was carefully planned and executed with cold mechanical precision. The Necrons, using technology that could manipulate the very fabric of reality, turned against their masters. In a series of coordinated attacks, they shattered the C'tan into countless shards, each containing a fraction of the Star God's essence and power. This betrayal marked the end of the C'tan's dominion, but came too late to save the Necrons from their soulless fate. With their gods defeated and the Old Ones vanquished, the Necrons faced a galaxy in turmoil. The younger races were rising to prominence, and the warp had become a tumultuous realm of chaos. Zarek made the difficult decision to enact the Great Sleep. The Necron legions withdrew to tomb worlds, entering stasis chambers to wait out the ages until the galaxy was ripe for their return. This strategic retreat was meant to allow time for the younger races to fight amongst themselves and for the warp to calm, setting the stage for a future Necron resurgence. As the Necrons slumbered, the galaxy continued to evolve. The Eldar rose to prominence, building a vast empire on the ashes of the war in heaven. Other races, such as humanity, emerged and began to spread across the stars, unaware of the ancient horrors that lay dormant beneath their feet. The C'tan shards, though imprisoned by the Necrons, remained a potent force. Some were lost or stolen, becoming objects of immense power sought after by various factions. Others remained under Necron control, used as weapons of last resort, despite the danger they posed to their wielders. Thus, the stage was set for the eventual awakening of the Necrons and the potential resurgence of the C'tan, a sleeping threat waiting to re-emerge in a galaxy that had all but forgotten their existence. The chronology of the C'tan spans eons, their influence shaping galactic events even in their absence. The earliest phase of their existence saw them as pure energy beings, drifting through the cosmos and feeding on stars. This period lasted for billions of years, with the C'tan unaware and uncaring of the material universe around them. The pivotal moment came when the Necrontyr first detected the C'tan's presence. Precise dating is impossible, but estimates place this event around 60 million years before the current era. The Necrontyr's creation of living metal bodies for the C'tan marked the beginning of a new cosmic epoch. As the C'tan transitioned into their new forms, they quickly dominated Necrontyr society. The process of biotransference, transforming the Necrontyr into Necrons, occurred over an extended period. During this time, the C'tan feasted on the life energies released, growing ever more powerful. The war in heaven erupted shortly after, its exact duration unknown, but estimated to have lasted for millions of years. This conflict reshaped the galaxy, with entire star systems destroyed and species wiped from existence. The Old Ones created new races to combat the C'tan and Necrons, including the Eldar and Krork. Midway through the war, the C'tan turned on each other. This period of internecine conflict saw their numbers reduce dramatically, from thousands to a few dozen. The survivors grew immensely powerful, absorbing the essences of their fallen kin. As the war reached its zenith, reality itself began to fray. The psychic backlash of the conflict weakened the barriers between real space and the warp, leading to the birth of the Chaos Gods. This event added a new dimension to the already cataclysmic war. The Old Ones' eventual defeat marked a turning point. With their ancient enemies vanquished, the Khitan and Necrons seemed poised to dominate the galaxy. However, this triumph was short-lived. The rebellion of the Necrons against the Khitan, led by Silent King Sarek, occurred swiftly and decisively. In a synchronized assault, the Necrons used weapons of impossible power to shatter the Khitan into shards. This betrayal, while successful, came at a great cost to the Necron race. Following the defeat of the Khitan, Zarek ordered the Great Sleep. Necron legions retreated to tomb worlds, entering stasis to await a time when the galaxy would be ripe for reconquest. This mass slumber began approximately 60 million years ago. As the Necrons slept, the galaxy continued to evolve. The Eldar rose to prominence, building a vast empire that would last for millions of years. Humanity emerged on Terra, slowly developing technology and beginning its expansion into the stars. The awakening of the Necrons and the re-emergence of Khitan shards as a galactic threat began piecemeal, with individual tomb worlds stirring to life. This process accelerated around the late 41st millennium, coinciding with increasing warp turbulence and the growing Tyranid threat. Notable events in recent history include the awakening of Necron overlord Zandrek in 774.M41, leading to a series of conquests in the Vidar sector. The Khitan shard of the Nightbringer was encountered and released on Cronus in 742.M41 during the Dark Crusade. The Yatilas dynasty's awakening in 783.M41 led to the devastation of the Blood Moon sector, showcasing the destructive potential of even a fragmented Khitan. The World Engine, a Necron megastructure possibly housing Khitan technology, was destroyed by the Astral Knights chapter in 926.M41. The 13th Black Crusade in 999.M41 saw increased Necron activity, with multiple dynasties awakening in response to the growing galactic turmoil. The fall of Cadia and the formation of the Great Rift in the early 42nd millennium further accelerated the awakening of tomb worlds. Trazyn the Infinite's involvement in the defense of Cadia hinted at the complex motivations driving awakened Necron lords. His vast collection, suspected to include Khitan shards, became a point of interest for various factions. The Pariah Nexus, established by the Sarkhan dynasty, represented a new phase in Necron expansionism. This region of space, inimical to warp energies, raised concerns about the potential re-emergence of Khitan influence on a galactic scale. Encounters with Khitan shards became more frequent as the 42nd millennium progressed. The Imperium faced the Void Dragon shard on Mars, while Craftworld Eldar fought against the Nightbringer's influence in various sectors. The Silent King's return to the galaxy in M42 marked a significant shift in Necron politics and strategy. His efforts to unite the Necron dynasties against external threats, particularly the Tyranids, hinted at the possibility of a resurgent Necron empire. Throughout this chronology, the Khitan's influence persisted even in their shattered state. Their technology, incorporated into Necron weapons and structures, continued to shape galactic events. The search for and control of Khitan shards became a focal point of conflict, with various factions seeking to harness their immense power. As the timeline progresses into the uncertain future of the 42nd millennium, the full reawakening of the Necron race and the potential reconstitution of the Khitan loom as galaxy-altering possibilities. The ancient star gods, though broken, remain a potent force in the ongoing struggles that define the Warhammer 40,000 universe. The pivotal moment in the saga of the Khitan came not at the height of their power, but in the instant of their downfall. This cosmic betrayal, orchestrated by the Silent King Sarek and executed by the Necron legions, forever altered the balance of power in the galaxy and set the stage for millennia of conflict to come. Sarek, the last of the Triarch and Supreme Overlord of the Necrontyr, had long harbored doubts about the bargains struck with the Khitan. As he witnessed the transformation of his people into soulless automatons and the unbridled feasting of the star gods on life energies, his regret crystallized into a plan for rebellion. The Silent King's genius lay in his patient preparation. Over an extended period, he allowed the C'tan to believe in their absolute control while secretly readying his forces. Zarek utilized the vast knowledge gained from the C'tan themselves, combined with Necron technological prowess, to develop weapons capable of sundering gods. The moment of betrayal was chosen with cold, calculated precision. As the war in heaven reached its zenith and the Old Ones faced extinction, the C'tan reveled in their impending victory. Their guard was lowered, their hunger for dominion blinding them to the threat posed by their own servants. In a single synchronized assault, the Necron legions turned upon their masters. Weapons of impossible power, harnessing energies that defied the laws of physics, were brought to bear against the unsuspecting C'tan. The star gods, for all their might, found themselves unprepared for this sudden and overwhelming attack. The battle was as brief as it was cataclysmic. Across the galaxy, C'tan were assailed by the very forces they had uplifted. The gods of the Imperium, who had feasted on stars and bent reality to their will, were shattered into countless shards. Each fragment contained but a fraction of the being's former power and consciousness, a pale echo of their once limitless potential. This act of cosmic treachery was not without cost. Many Necrons were destroyed in the conflict, their bodies obliterated by the death throes of the C'tan. Entire tomb worlds were lost, their inhabitants and technologies annihilated in the backlash of godly energies unleashed. The surviving C'tan shards, though greatly diminished, remained incredibly dangerous. The Necrons developed tesseract labyrinths, extra-dimensional prisons to contain these fragments of divinity. Yet even in this shattered state, the C'tan posed a threat that could unravel reality itself if left unchecked. Zarek's victory was Pyrrhic. The Necrons had freed themselves from one form of slavery, only to find themselves trapped in another. Without souls, without the ability to procreate or truly live, they had become a race of deathless machines, their emotions and individuality largely excised in the process of biotransference. The Silent King, burdened by the weight of his decisions, chose a path of self-imposed exile. Before departing the galaxy, he ordered the Great Sleep, commanding his people to retreat to their tomb worlds and enter stasis. This strategic withdrawal was intended to allow time for the galaxy to recover from the war in heaven and for new races to rise and fall. As the Necrons slumbered, the shards of the C'tan became objects of immense power and desire. Some remained under Necron control, carefully guarded and occasionally wielded as weapons of last resort. Others were lost or stolen, becoming the focus of quests and conflicts for millennia to come. The Deceiver, true to its nature, is believed to have anticipated the betrayal to some degree. Fragments of this C'tan have been encountered more frequently than others, suggesting that it may have taken measures to ensure its own survival and continued influence. The Nightbringer's shards, when encountered, often leave entire populations gripped by primal terror. This C'tan's essence, so deeply intertwined with the concept of death itself, continues to shape the fears of countless species across the galaxy. The Void Dragon, with its mastery over technology, is whispered to be imprisoned on Mars. Its influence is theorized to be the source of the Adeptus Mechanicus's reverence for machine spirits and the Omnissiah. The Outsider, driven to madness even before its sundering, remains a wild card. Its shards, when encountered, bring madness and destruction on a scale that threatens entire sectors. This moment of betrayal and its aftermath set the stage for the current state of the galaxy. The Necrons, awakening from their great sleep, seek to re-establish their dominion while grappling with the consequences of their past actions. The hunt for C'tan shards continues, with various factions seeking to harness or destroy these fragments of godly power. The Imperium of Man, largely ignorant of the true nature of the C'tan, faces a threat it scarcely comprehends. Inquisitors and tech priests delve into forbidden lore, seeking knowledge of these ancient entities while risking corruption and madness. Eldar Farseers, carrying the genetic memory of the war in heaven, work tirelessly to prevent the reconstitution of the C'tan. Their actions, often inscrutable to other races, are guided by the terror of what a fully restored star god could unleash upon the galaxy. As the 41st millennium draws to a close and the 42nd dawns, the consequences of this pivotal betrayal continue to reverberate through time and space. The full awakening of the Necron race and the potential reassembly of the C'tan loom as galaxy-altering possibilities, their outcome uncertain in a universe already beset by unending war and encroaching darkness. The shattering of the C'tan sent ripples through the very fabric of reality, altering the course of galactic history and leaving an indelible mark on countless civilizations. The immediate aftermath saw a universe forever changed, with consequences that continue to unfold millions of years later. Foremost among these effects was the fundamental restructuring of the Necron race. Once the aristocracy of the Necrontyr, they now found themselves trapped in metallic bodies, their consciousness fragmented and diminished. The loss of their organic forms and souls left them as shadows of their former selves, driven by echoes of past ambitions and the ghost of free will. The Necron warriors, once the common citizens of a sprawling empire, were reduced to mindless automatons, their individuality entirely stripped away. Only the highest-ranking Necrons retained some semblance of their original personalities, though often twisted and corrupted by the process of biotransference and millions of years of dreamless sleep. This transformation of an entire species had far-reaching implications for the balance of power in the galaxy. The Necrons, while robbed of their biological functions, gained virtual immortality and access to technology so advanced it bordered on the miraculous. Their ability to repair and rebuild themselves, coupled with weapons capable of unmaking reality itself, positioned them as a potential dominant force upon their reawakening. The galaxy itself bore scars from the conflict. Entire star systems had been extinguished, their energies consumed by the C'tan, or destroyed in the final betrayal. Planets were left as lifeless husks, their surfaces scoured of all evidence of the civilizations that once thrived upon them. The laws of physics, strained by the godlike powers unleashed during the war in heaven, left pockets of reality where the impossible became commonplace. Perhaps the most profound consequence was the change wrought upon the warp. The psychic backlash of the war and the emotions it engendered created turbulence in the Imperium that would never truly subside. This turmoil gave birth to new warp entities and strengthened existing ones, laying the groundwork for the eventual rise of the Chaos Gods. The old ones, once the undisputed masters of the galaxy, were driven to extinction or forced to flee beyond known space. Their passing left a vacuum that younger races would struggle to fill, and their legacy lived on in the species they had created or uplifted, such as the Eldar and the Krork. The Eldar, in particular, found themselves thrust into a position of galactic dominance. With their creators gone and their greatest enemies apparently vanquished, they began to build an empire that would last for millions of years. However, the psychic echoes of the war in heaven and the knowledge of the C'tan's true nature would haunt them, influencing their culture and mythologies for millennia to come. The shards of the C'tan themselves became objects of immense power and danger. Those captured by the Necrons were imprisoned in tesseract labyrinths, extra-dimensional spaces where they could be contained but never truly destroyed. These shards, even in their diminished state, possessed power beyond mortal comprehension. When wielded as weapons, they could annihilate entire armies or crack planets asunder. Some C'tan shards escaped Necron captivity, becoming legendary artifacts sought by various factions across the galaxy. Inquisitors of the Imperium, Eldar Farseers, and even agents of chaos would pursue rumors of these god shards, each hoping to harness their power for their own ends. The mere presence of a C'tan shard could warp reality around it, driving nearby life forms to madness or mutation. The Necron tomb worlds, sealed away for millions of years, became time capsules of unimaginably advanced technology. As these worlds began to awaken in the 41st millennium, their emergence sent shockwaves through nearby systems. Planets that had been colonized by younger races suddenly found themselves facing an implacable, undying enemy rising from beneath their very feet. The Adeptus Mechanicus of the Imperium became obsessed with uncovering the secrets of Necron technology. This pursuit led to both incredible advancements and catastrophic setbacks, as the tech priests grappled with knowledge beyond their understanding. Some have theorized that the Void Dragon, a Satan associated with technology and machines, may be imprisoned on Mars itself, its dreams influencing the development of human technology for millennia. The awakening of the Necrons also had profound implications for the Tyrannid hive fleets invading the galaxy. The Necrons, being soulless and composed of living metal, presented no psychic signature and little biomass for the Tyrannids to consume. This led to direct conflicts between these two implacable forces, with entire sectors caught in the crossfire. Among the Necron dynasties themselves, the reawakening brought conflict and confusion. Some, like the Sautek dynasty, led by Imatek the Stormlord, sought to reunite the Necron race under a single banner. Others, such as Trazyn the Infinite, pursued their own inscrutable agendas. The return of the Silent King Zarek to the galaxy in M42 added another layer of complexity to Necron politics as he sought to rally his people against the manifold threats facing them. The possibility of the Satan reforming looms as an apocalyptic threat. Should even one of these star gods regain its full power, the consequences for the galaxy would be catastrophic. This danger drives much of the Necrons' actions as they seek to maintain control over the shards while pursuing their own goals of reconquest and restoration. As the 41st millennium draws to a close, the full impact of the Khitan's legacy continues to unfold. The Necrons rise in greater numbers, bringing with them technology that rewrites the laws of physics. The younger races of the galaxy find themselves facing an enemy out of ancient myth, while grappling with the possibility that gods once walked among the stars, and may do so again. The technological and tactical aspects of the Shaitan and their Necron servants stand as a testament to power beyond mortal comprehension. At the core of their might lies the mastery of living metal, a substance that blurs the line between organic and inorganic matter. This miraculous material forms the basis of Necron bodies and constructs, allowing for self-repair and near-instantaneous regeneration. Necrodermis, the living metal that housed the Satan's essence, represents the pinnacle of this technology. It provided the star gods with physical forms while maintaining their reality-warping abilities. Even in their shattered state, Satan shards encased in Necrodermis remain nigh indestructible, capable of reforming after sustaining damage that would annihilate lesser beings. The Necron's arsenal includes Gauss weapons, which strip away their target's atomic structure layer by layer. These arms ignore traditional armor, reducing even the mightiest war machines to clouds of disparate atoms. More esoteric devices like dimensional destabilizers phase troops out of sync with reality, allowing Necron forces to bypass conventional defenses entirely. Translocation technology enables Necron armies to materialize on the battlefield instantly, circumventing the need for traditional deployment methods. This capability, combined with their phase shifters, makes Necron forces uniquely maneuverable and unpredictable in combat. The resurrection protocols of the Necrons stand as perhaps their most terrifying advantage. Fallen warriors can be reconstituted and returned to battle, their bodies reassembled atom by atom. This process, facilitated by tomb complexes and specialized scarab constructs, renders Necron armies virtually inexhaustible in protracted conflicts. Chronomancy, the manipulation of time itself, features prominently in Necron strategies. Chronometrons allow Necron lords to perceive and react to events before they occur, while time displacement beams can remove enemies from the flow of time entirely. Some cryptechs specialize in temporal engineering, using arcane science to alter the very fabric of causality. The Khitan shards, though vastly diminished from their original forms, retain fragments of their reality-altering powers. When unleashed in battle, these shards can unmake matter, manipulate gravitational forces, or even temporarily rewrite the laws of physics within a localized area. The deployment of a Catan shard is considered an act of last resort, given the difficulty in controlling these capricious entities. Necron tomb worlds often house colossal war machines that defy conventional understanding. The World Engine, a planet-sized battle station, demonstrated the scale at which Necron technology operates. These megastructures can extinguish stars, reverse gravity, or create localized warp storms, showcasing power on a cosmic scale. The inertialess drive, a propulsion system that ignores the constraints of relativity, allows Necron fleets to cross vast interstellar distances nearly instantaneously. This technology renders traditional warp travel obsolete and provides the Necrons with unparalleled strategic mobility. Necron crypts and tomb complexes represent marvels of engineering and interdimensional manipulation. These structures exist partially outside of normal space-time, allowing them to house vast armies and resources within seemingly impossible volumes. The labyrinthine nature of these complexes, combined with reality-bending defenses, makes them nearly impregnable to outside forces. The command protocols utilized by Necron overlords allow for unprecedented coordination on the battlefield. Through quantum entanglement, Necron forces can react to changing situations with machine-like efficiency, their movements choreographed within human precision. Mind-shackle scarabs, microscopic constructs that infiltrate an enemy's nervous system, provide Necrons with the insidious means of control. These devices can turn the strongest-willed opponents into puppets, sowing confusion and discord among enemy ranks. The Celestial Orrery, a device capable of extinguishing stars with a mere thought, stands as a testament to the godlike power once wielded by the Necrons. Its existence remains a closely guarded secret, with even most Necron lords unaware of its location or full capabilities. Tesseract vaults, used to contain Ceton shards, represent the pinnacle of Necron containment technology. These extra-dimensional prisons harness the power of their captives while keeping them bound through means that defy mortal understanding. The tactical doctrine of Necron forces often revolves around implacable advance and attrition. Their ability to regenerate and resurrect fallen warriors allows for strategies that would be suicidal for other races. Necron phalanxes can weather storms of enemy fire, advancing relentlessly while their own Gauss weapons steadily dismantle opposition. Deception and misdirection play a crucial role in Necron warfare, a legacy of the Ceton known as the Deceiver. Holograms and phantom armies can be projected to confuse enemy forces, while reality-bending technologies can make the impossible seem commonplace on the battlefield. The use of scarab swarms for both construction and destruction showcases the adaptability of Necron technology. These diminutive automatons can strip entire battlefields of resources or rapidly erect fortifications, altering the very landscape of war in moments. Monoliths, mobile fortress temples, serve as anchors for Necron forces. These massive structures can teleport armies, project devastating energy beams, and create localized reality distortions. Their appearance on a battlefield often heralds the arrival of a full-scale Necron invasion. The ability of Necron forces to phase in and out of reality adds a dimension of psychological warfare to their tactics. Enemy forces find themselves battling foes that can seemingly melt away at will, only to rematerialize in even greater numbers. As Necron dynasties awaken and rebuild their ancient empires, the full extent of their technological and tactical capabilities continues to be revealed. Each encounter with these undying legions forces the younger races to confront the reality that they face an enemy operating on a level of scientific understanding that borders on the divine. The legacy of the Catan, embedded in every aspect of Necron technology and strategy, ensures that the soulless armies of the ancient star gods remain one of the most formidable forces in the galaxy. The saga of the Catan and the Necrons is rife with figures of legendary power and infamy. Among the Catan themselves, 4 stand out as the most influential and dreaded. The Nightbringer, known as Azagorod the Harvester, embodies death itself. Its actions during the War in Heaven instilled a primal fear of death in countless species, a terror that echoes through the psyche of many races to this day. The Nightbringer's scythe has reaped the souls of entire civilizations, its very presence enough to induce paralyzing dread in mortal beings. The Deceiver, Mephetron the Messenger, represents the quintessence of trickery and manipulation. This Cthulhu's subtle influence has shaped galactic events for millions of years, its fragmented form allowing it to continue its machinations even after the betrayal. The Deceiver's actions often pit its enemies against each other, sowing discord and confusion across the stars. Magladroth, the Void Dragon, master of technology and machines, is perhaps the most enigmatic of the major Cthulhu. Rumors persist of its imprisonment on Mars, its dreams possibly influencing the development of human technology through the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Void Dragon's power over machines and energy makes it a figure of particular interest and fear for tech priests and engineers across the galaxy. The Outsider, driven to madness by its consumption of other Cthulhu, represents chaos and insanity. Its influence is less direct, but no less terrifying, with entire populations driven to madness by its proximity. The Outsider's exile beyond the galaxy's edge remains a subject of dark speculation among those aware of its existence. Among the Necrons, the Silent King Sarek stands as the architect of both their rise and their betrayal of the Cthulhu. His decision to accept the Cthulhu's offer of immortality doomed his race to an eternity of soulless existence, while his later rebellion against the star gods shattered the cosmic order. Zarek's recent return to the galaxy heralds a new era of Necron ascendancy, his millennia of exile having granted him a unique perspective on the state of the universe. Imhotep, the Storm Lord, Pharaon of the Sautek dynasty, emerges as one of the most powerful and ambitious Necron lords in the post-Awakening era. His tactical brilliance and drive to reunite the Necron race under a single banner make him a figure of both admiration and fear among his peers. Imhotep's campaigns have seen countless worlds fall to Necron rule, his strategies often outwitting even the most seasoned Imperial commanders. Trazyn the Infinite, the self-styled historian of Necron civilization, stands apart for his obsession with collecting artifacts and specimens from across time and space. His vast galleries on Solemnace House, wonders and horrors from throughout galactic history, including rumored Cthulhu shards. Trazyn's actions, while often inscrutable, have far-reaching consequences for both Necron politics and the wider galaxy. Awaken the Diviner represents the pinnacle of Necron chronomancy. His ability to navigate the currents of time itself makes him an invaluable asset to Necron dynasties and a terrifying opponent for any who stand against him. Awaken's prophecies and temporal manipulations have shaped the course of numerous conflicts, often in ways that only become apparent long after the fact. Illuminor Saras, the architect of biotransference, remains a controversial figure even among the Necrons. His unceasing quest to perfect the Necron form drives him to perform horrific experiments on captured beings from across the galaxy. Xeras's work continues to push the boundaries of Necron technology, his innovations both revered and feared by his own kind. The Triarch Praetorians, guardians of Necron traditions and cultural purity, stand as a reminder of the ancient codes that once governed Necron society. These relentless enforcers of the old ways clash with the ambitions of newly awakened Necron lords, their actions often serving as a counterbalance to the more radical elements within Necron civilization. Among the younger races, certain individuals have risen to prominence in their dealings with Necron and Cthulhu threats. Inquisitor Valeria, her body and mind warped by exposure to Necron technology, has become one of the Imperium's foremost experts on these ancient foes. Her insights, though often dismissed as the ravings of a madwoman, have proven crucial in numerous encounters with awakening tomb worlds. Belisarius Cawl, Archmagos Dominus of the Adeptus Mechanicus harbors a dangerous fascination with Necron technology. His attempts to reverse engineer Necron artifacts have led to both groundbreaking advancements and catastrophic failures, pushing the boundaries of what the Imperium deems acceptable in the pursuit of knowledge. Farseer Eldrad Ulthron of Craftworld Ulthwé stands as one of the few beings in the galaxy with a true understanding of the C'tan's nature and the threat they pose. His millennia-spanning plans often revolve around preventing the resurgence of these star gods, actions that frequently bring him into conflict with both Necron forces and other factions unaware of the true stakes. The return of Roboute Guilliman, Primarch of the Ultramarines, has brought new attention to the Necron threat within the highest echelons of Imperial power. Guilliman's strategic genius and historical knowledge make him uniquely suited to countering Necron ambitions, even as he grapples with the implications of facing an enemy that predates humanity itself. Nemesor Zandrek and Vargard Oberon of the Sautek dynasty present a curious case of loyalty and delusion. Zandrek's damaged mind perceives the battles of the 41st millennium through the lens of ancient Necrontyr conflicts, with Oberon steadfastly supporting his lord's fantasies while ensuring the dynasty's continued success. These figures, both legendary and infamous, shape the ongoing narrative of the C'tan and Necrons in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Their actions, ambitions, and conflicts drive the plot forward, adding layers of complexity to an already rich tapestry of galactic intrigue and warfare. As tomb worlds continue to awaken and the hunt for C'tan shards intensifies, these characters and others like them will play pivotal roles in determining the fate of entire sectors and potentially the galaxy itself. The enigmatic nature of the C'tan and the ancient history of the Necrons have given rise to a multitude of mysteries and unanswered questions that continue to puzzle scholars and strategists alike. One of the most pressing enigmas concerns the true extent of the C'tan's powers. While their ability to manipulate the fundamental laws of physics is well documented, the limits of these capabilities remain unknown. Some theorize that a fully restored C'tan might possess the power to reshape reality on a galactic scale, potentially altering the very nature of existence. The fate of the Old Ones, the C'tan's ancient adversaries, presents another intriguing puzzle. While most believe this race to be extinct, whispers persist of surviving Old Ones hiding in the darkest corners of the galaxy or in realms beyond normal space-time. The possibility of their return and the potential consequences for the current balance of power fuel endless speculation among those aware of the war in heaven. The exact number of C'tan shards in existence remains a subject of intense debate. While the Necrons are known to possess many, countless others are thought to be scattered across the stars or held by various factions. The true power of these shards and the possibility of reuniting them to reform complete C'tan entities pose questions with potentially catastrophic implications. The nature of the Necron's biotransference process continues to baffle even the most accomplished tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The ability to transfer consciousness from organic bodies to mechanical forms while retaining some semblance of individuality represents a technological feat far beyond current understanding. The possibility of reverse engineering this process tantalizes many, despite the obvious moral and metaphysical concerns. The origins and true purpose of the celestial orrery remain shrouded in secrecy. This device, capable of extinguishing stars with a mere thought, hints at the C'tan's mastery over cosmic forces. Questions persist about its creation, its full capabilities, and the consequences of its use on a galactic scale. The relationship between the C'tan and the warp presents a fascinating conundrum. As beings of pure materiality, the C'tan appear to be anathema to the psychic energies of the Imperium. This raises questions about the nature of reality itself and the balance between the material and immaterial realms. Some speculate that the C'tan's actions may have been a response to the growing influence of the warp, setting the stage for an eternal conflict between these opposing forces. The possibility of undiscovered tomb worlds adds an element of unpredictability to galactic politics. The sudden awakening of a previously unknown Necron dynasty could dramatically shift the balance of power in a sector or even on a larger scale. The methods used to hide these worlds and the triggers for their awakening remain subjects of intense study and speculation. The true motivations of awakened Necron lords present a complex puzzle. While some, like Imhotep the Stormlord, clearly seek to re-establish Necron dominion, others pursue more inscrutable goals. The degree to which their original personalities and motivations have survived the long sleep, and how these might have been altered by millions of years of dormancy, offers fertile ground for psychological and philosophical inquiry. The nature of Necron FTL travel technology challenges fundamental assumptions about the universe. Their inertialess drives, which allow for near-instantaneous travel across vast distances without entering the warp, suggest a deeper understanding of space-time than any other known race possesses. The principles behind this technology and its potential applications beyond travel remain tantalizingly out of reach. The existence and whereabouts of the Nexus arrangement, a legendary device capable of closing off portions of the galaxy from the warp, fuel countless theories and expeditions. The implications of such a device for both Necron ambitions and the strategies of other races are staggering, particularly in an era where warp travel and communication are crucial to most factions. The true nature of the Flayer virus, a curse said to have been unleashed by a dying Satan, presents a chilling mystery. Its ability to corrupt Necron programming and drive them to madness hints at powers that transcend the boundary between physical and metaphysical realms. The possibility of the virus spreading or evolving to affect other forms of technology or even organic life is a source of deep concern for those aware of its existence. The degree of influence the imprisoned Void Dragon may have over human technological development remains a topic of fierce debate within certain circles of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Some claim that the Emperor's battle with the dragon on ancient Terra and its subsequent imprisonment on Mars are mere legends, while others see the hand of this Shaitan in every significant human technological advance. The potential for Necron technology to offer solutions to problems faced by other races presents a moral and practical dilemma. The possibility of using Necron methods to extend life, cure diseases, or solve resource scarcity tantalizes many, but the price of embracing such alien and potentially corrupting technology gives even the most desperate pause. The exact circumstances surrounding the Silent King's exile and return remain unclear. His experiences beyond the galactic rim and the knowledge he gained during his long absence are subjects of intense curiosity among both Necrons and other races aware of his significance. The full extent of his plans for the Necron race and the galaxy at large remains one of the most consequential mysteries of the current era. As the Necrons continue to awaken and exert their influence across the stars, these mysteries and many others come to the forefront of galactic concerns. The secrets of the Khitan and their former servants hold the potential to reshape the balance of power, challenge fundamental understanding of the universe, and alter the course of history for all races. In a galaxy already beset by countless threats, the enigmas surrounding these ancient beings add layers of complexity and uncertainty to an already volatile situation. The legacy of the Khitan and the Necrons casts a long shadow over the galaxy, their influence shaping events on a scale beyond mortal comprehension. As tomb worlds awaken and ancient technologies resurface, the balance of power shifts in ways that will reverberate for millennia to come. The Imperium of man finds itself facing a threat it scarcely understands. Imperial tacticians struggle to adapt to an enemy that defies conventional warfare. Weapons that have served humanity for thousands of years prove ineffective against living metal and Gauss technology. The psychological impact of battling an implacable, undying foe takes its toll on even the most stalwart defenders of mankind. Inquisitors delve into forbidden archives, seeking any scrap of information that might give humanity an edge. Their investigations often lead to dark revelations about the nature of reality and humanity's place in the cosmic order. Some are driven mad by the knowledge they uncover, while others become obsessed with harnessing Necron technology for the Imperium's benefit. The Adeptus Mechanicus faces a crisis of faith and purpose. The existence of Necron technology challenges their most fundamental beliefs about the nature of machines and the Omnissiah. Some tech priests view the Necrons as the pinnacle of mechanical evolution, a heretical notion that threatens to split the Mechanicus from within. Others see them as abominations to be destroyed at all costs, their technology too dangerous to be studied or preserved. For the Eldari, the re-emergence of the Necrons reopens ancient wounds. The memory of the war in heaven lives on in their racial psyche, driving them to take drastic actions to prevent history from repeating itself. Farseers weave intricate plans spanning centuries, all aimed at keeping the full might of the Necron dynasties from awakening. The Phoenix Lords, living links to the Eldari's ancient past, take a more direct approach, leading strikes against tomb worlds to destroy them before they can fully activate. The Tyranid hive mind encounters a prey it cannot easily consume. Necron worlds, devoid of biomass and psychic presence, confound the Tyranid's usual tactics. This forces the Great Devourer to adapt, developing new strategies to deal with an enemy that offers no sustenance. The battles between these two implacable foes reshape entire sectors, leaving devastation in their wake. Orc-Wargs find themselves drawn to the challenge presented by Necron tomb worlds. The prospect of shiny bits and powerful weapons excites the greenskins, leading to massive orc migrations towards areas of known Necron activity. The resulting conflicts often work to the advantage of other races, as these two powerful forces grind each other down. The Tau Empire, in its expansion, increasingly comes into conflict with awakening Necron dynasties. The Tau's technological optimism is severely tested as they encounter a species whose scientific understanding surpasses their own by orders of magnitude. This challenges the very foundation of their belief in the greater good and their destined role in the galaxy. Chaos forces view the rise of the Necrons with a mixture of hostility and opportunity. The soulless nature of the Necrons makes them anathema to the powers of the warp, yet the disruption caused by their awakening creates opportunities for chaos to spread. Some Chaos Lords seek to harness Satan shards, seeing them as potential weapons in their long war against the Imperium. The Silent King's return heralds a new era of Necron ascendancy. His efforts to unite the fractious dynasties under a common purpose slowly gain traction. The full implementation of his plans could see the Necrons rise once again to galactic dominance, potentially offering a bulwark against threats like the Tyranids, but at the cost of all other races' freedom. Necron awakening brings with it technological marvels that reshape the very nature of warfare. Inertialess drives render traditional interstellar travel and logistics obsolete. Gauss weapons make conventional armor useless, forcing radical redesigns in military equipment across all factions. The possibility of time manipulation on the battlefield introduces levels of tactical complexity previously unimaginable. The hunt for Satan shards becomes a shadow war involving all major powers. These fragments of godlike beings are seen as both immense threats and potential game-changing assets. Entire subsectors are devastated in the wake of battles fought to control even a single shard, the power they offer deemed worth any price by those who seek them. As more of the galaxy becomes aware of the Necrons' existence, a profound shift occurs in how sentient beings view their place in the universe. The revelation that godlike entities once walked among the stars, and may do so again, challenges religious and scientific paradigms alike. Cults dedicated to the Khitan spring up across countless worlds, their members seeking transcendence through union with these cosmic entities. The Necrons themselves face an existential crisis as they awaken. Some seek to reclaim their lost empire, viewing all other races as usurpers to be swept aside. Others, remembering the folly that led to their current state, seek new paths. Debates rage within dynasties about whether to attempt a return to organic form, to perfect their mechanical bodies further, or to seek a new form of existence altogether. Diplomatic overtures between Necron dynasties and other races, while rare, offer tantalizing possibilities. The potential for alliances, however uneasy, against common threats like the Tyranids or Chaos presents new strategic options. Yet the fundamental disconnect between the Necrons' worldview and that of younger races makes lasting cooperation difficult at best. The possibility of reverse engineering Necron technology becomes an obsession for many. The promise of functional immortality, unlimited energy, and mastery over the fundamental forces of the universe drives individuals and entire organizations to take incredible risks. The line between technological advancement and corruption blurs, with many finding themselves irrevocably changed by their pursuit of Necron's secrets. As the 41st millennium draws to a close, the full impact of the C'tan's legacy remains unrealized. The Necrons stand poised to reshape the galaxy once again, their ancient grudges and unfathomable plans colliding with the ambitions and survival instincts of countless younger races. In this new age of awakening tomb worlds and rediscovered god shards, the future of the galaxy hangs in the balance, with the potential for either a new dark age or an era of unprecedented possibility.